well say what you got to say before you're dead.
And I encourage you to watch it once, twice, 3 times. I love when politicians say stupid things.
Let me tell you something. You all think me stupid, you know.
If you take offense to it personally, that's your business.
And it's the number one show.
That's the show.
Good evening and welcome to Citizens Review. Now you will see that our background is a little different today, and it's in commemoration of Mandela Day. The gentleman that we all know as Nelson Mandela, but is really known as Rolihlahla Madiba Mandela, and his English name is Nelson. His birthday is today, and today is Mandela Day. Now we've all seen all of the claims that Mandela has passed away on our Facebooks and our Twitter feeds and any place that you could imagine, false reports that Mandela has passed away, but he has not passed away. He is celebrating his birthday. His condition has improved, and Mandela is alive and well. I brought with me today first this shirt, which was purchased at the Nelson Mandela Center in South Africa for me by a very dear friend of mine. And also these books were purchased for me at that center. Now, one of the first books that I read, one of the first big, thick books that I've ever read was A Long Walk by Nelson Mandela. It's his life story, which is when I found out that his first name is not Nelson. His English name is Nelson. His name is Rolihlahla, and they call him Madiba. That's his clan name. And these books were brought for me, and I had the occasion to interview Morgan Freeman, as any of you who've watched the show knows, and I got, that was in my estimation, as close as I was going to get to Nelson Mandela, because Morgan Freeman, as you know, like Sidney Poitier, played Mandela in the movie Invictus. So I had Morgan Freeman sign both of these books for me, and I've read these books. I've cherished what he's had to say. This one is Nelson Mandela by himself, an authorized book of quotations. And no, you cannot borrow these books, so don't ask. And this one is Mandela, the Authorized Portrait. Foreword by Kofi Annan, former UN Secretary General, and the introduction by Archbishop Desmond Tutu. So today is Mandela Day. The purpose of today is that you're supposed to give 67 minutes of your time to any cause that you find worthy, which helps other people in your community. So I want to show some photos of Mandela so that you could, I want people to get into the feeling of Madiba. So let's show some photos. This is Mandela as he aged a bit. Let's go back to that one that we had up before. This is him. I think this is when he first voted after he was released from prison after 28 years. He spent 18 of those years, if I'm not correct, 17 or 18 of those years on Robben Island, and then was relocated to a private home prison for 10 years. And this is Mandela, in all of his glory. Let's show the next photo. This is just a banner for Mandela Day, showing Nelson doing the famous hail as he walked across the stage, and we'll show some more of that. Next, this is a South African newspaper. Actually, it's the London Herald, talking about Mandela having been freed. Next up, what can I do? This Wednesday, July 18th, this is probably one of the older Mandela Day banners, but it captures the idea. We are supposed to do something for Mandela Day. And there is a video that I want to show you, and then I want to talk a bit about our history with Nelson Mandela. So watch this short video on Mandela Day.
It is in your hands to create a better world for all who live in it. Mandela Day will not be a holiday. but a day devoted to service. It is our hope that people will dedicate their time and effort to improve the conditions within their own community.
Amen. So you see, it's not a holiday. It's supposed to be a day where you give 67 minutes of your time to help someone, help some part of your community, do some sort of volunteering. I saw someone said they're going to old folks' home to read books to them today. I saw someone said that they're going to read books to autistic children. I saw someone write that they're going to take 67 minutes of their time to cook meals for those in their community. I saw another group who's going to donate 67 bowls of food to Hands for Hunger. And so, and that's in the Bahamas. So these are things that are going on. It was brought to my attention actually, because I've been a little busy lately, and it's brought to my attention by Gandhi Pinder and also Mr. Weena Gruner, who's a South African here in the Bahamas. And I ran into both of them at the cricket club, and they said, do you remember we got to promote Mandela Day? And of course, I am a huge fan of Nelson Mandela. I immediately downloaded 4 or 5 movies with Mandela, the one with Invictus, the one with Sidney Poitier. There is also one with Dennis Haysbert. And if I knew that Dennis Haysbert also played Mandela in Goodbye, Roshana, I can't remember exactly the name, but I would have had Dennis Haysbert sign my book as well when he interviewed with us here on Citizens Review, but I did not know. And Dennis Haysbert is the All-State guy, for those of you who do not know. Goodbye, Bafana is the name of the movie. So, you know, this just Mandela time. And the reason why that is so critical is because of what he stood for. And let me identify for you a bit of the relationship between particularly Lyndon Pindling and the Bahamas and Mandela. There was a CHOGM meeting, Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting that was headed by Lyndon Pindling as the chairman of that meeting. It was held here in Nassau. The significance of that meeting, and you could go to the ANC, the African National Congress, of which Mandela was the head. You can go to their website online and see that they have a detailed and outlined. There was a document generated called the Nassau Accord. It was a communique from the Commonwealth Heads of Government called the Nassau Accord. And some people call it the Nassau Communique. And the importance of that document is that it was the first international statement issuing a complete reprisal, complete rejection of apartheid in South Africa. Now, the interesting part of that story is that Lyndon Pindling is given the credit from the Canadian Prime Minister, also the Jamaican Prime Minister, P.J. Patterson, and Brian Mulroney, the Canadian Prime Minister, for having negotiated that deal and pressed to make sure that that happened almost on his own. And that is because Margaret Thatcher critically opposed issuing any international statements from the Commonwealth of Governments, heads of government meeting condemning apartheid in South Africa. And the reason she felt that way was because her partner in crime, Ronald Reagan, the President of the United States at the time, had decided that they would leave apartheid alone. They would allow it to sort of run its course. Well, Lyndon Pindling and the Commonwealth heads of governments had a different idea, but Margaret Thatcher would not agree. And there is a film that I've seen recently that should be released at some point, done by Travolta Cooper, a Bahamian filmmaker who was responsible for Founding Fathers with Stafford Sands. And that film outlines from the mouth of Brian Mulroney, the former Canadian Prime Minister, and P.J. Patterson, the former Jamaican Prime Minister, how Lyndon Pindling maneuvered and was diplomatic in his maneuvering to get Margaret Thatcher to agree, because they wanted a unanimous accord from the entire Commonwealth saying we hold disdain for apartheid in South Africa, and Mandela needs to be freed, and it needs to happen now. And when Pinling negotiated that, it was a beautiful moment in the international community and in the history of the world. And so that needs to be mentioned, and it needs to be pointed out, because for all his faults, Lyndon Pinling, no matter what you say, was a man, and he was a great one. So on this day, we celebrate Mandela. We celebrate Mandela Day, and I want to show you some videos of Mandela so that you can get an idea of what Mandela was as a young man and also as an older gentleman. So we're going to take this break, and then I'll come back and I have a few videos for you to see. We'll be right back after these messages. Good evening and welcome back to Citizens Review. The first video I want to show you, and this is all in commemoration of Mandela Day, so you can get an idea of who Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, also known as Madiba, was. And this is a video, a very quick snapshot of his opinion early in his years, and how serious he was and how convicted he was about what needed to happen and what he was prepared to do. So I'm going to show you this video. Man said he's prepared to die. And that is the kind of conviction it took to sit in a prison cell on Robben Island for 18 years and then be moved, but still be in prison for 28 years. Just think about the kind of impact that 28 years in prison. This is a man with a family, his mother, his wife, Winnie Mandela, who you know and have heard of so very well. This is a man who, I mean, he was a young lawyer, he was a vibrant figure, and was just put in jail for 28 years. And then the most unbelievable thing about him is that he did not grow in anger, but he grew in peace. He grew in peace and understanding and appreciation of all people. He grew an understanding and appreciation of the fact that each person was important to making sure that the country worked. That each individual, each family, each community, each organization, each grouping of people, each thought process and understanding of things was important to make sure that the country can run and work together. And while South Africa still has many, many steps to take and much more to grow, they started from a place that was very, very dark. And Mandela shined a bright light inside. And watch his speech, and this is a little lengthy, but you have to see And I think people need to experience the moment when people got a chance to see Mandela again, and people all over the world came together in South Africa. People all over the world gathered to say, free Mandela, and the political prisoners like Walter Sisulu and all of the others who were with him in prison. And Mandela refused to leave until every single man in the jail with him was out. He was the last one out. And those are the kinds of characteristics of a man that you want to lead your country. That's the kind of person that you're looking for. And a woman, even in a woman, a man, it doesn't matter what the sex is, but these kinds of ideas. And that's why we celebrate Mandela Day. So let's have a look at this speech. Mandela released from prison.
A fantastic reception for Nelson Mandela, who's standing with Winnie Mandela, and of course Adelaide Tambo, the wife of Oliver Tambo, the president of the ANC.
That's tremendous.
Master of Ceremonies, distinguished artists, members of the International Reception Committee, dear friends here and elsewhere in the world, our first simple and happy task is to say thank you. Thank you very much to you all. You will.
That, words cannot even, you can't, you can't explain the kind of feeling you get when you think of how that moment would have been for the people involved, for Winnie Mandela, for Oliver Tambo's wife who was there, and Oliver Tambo was in hospital at the time, for Walter Sisulu and the other gentleman who was in prison with him, even the prison guards who formed a relationship with Nelson Mandela and worked with him over the years. Um, it's just people all around the world, even our very own Prime Minister Lyndon Pinling, who almost single-handedly brought about the Nassau Accord, how these people felt, how people felt all over the world. It was the Berlin Wall falling, it was Hitler falling, it was freedom, it was peace, it was prosperity, it was forward movement, it was progress. Something that I think we starve for in the Bahamas. And the only thing I could do at this point is play the national anthem of South Africa, and then we'll take a break. So let's go to Nkosi Sikelele, Africa. God bless Africa. Good evening and welcome back to Citizens Review. Again, we're celebrating International Nelson Mandela Day. I like to say Rolishasha Madiba Mandela, but his English name that was given to him is Nelson Mandela. And today, the theme is to make every day a Mandela Day. Give 67 minutes or 67 of something of your time, your effort to helping someone, helping your community, helping peace on earth. Can't say it better than that. One thing I wanted to bring up, and we still face these challenges that is the reason why we need to observe things like Nelson Mandela Day. Because the idea of the ANC in its founding, and certainly not now, because President Zuma of South Africa is certainly a very challenged figure, no more or less challenged than our presidents or prime ministers in this region. But the reason we observe it is because the founding principles is based on equal opportunity, equal access, equal rights for all people. And then you see things like the Trayvon Martin case, which people talk about a lot, and I've heard so much commentary and seen so much things, but I've only seen one opinion that really sums it up for me. And we're going to come to that in a second. But, you know, when you think of things like our recent Constitutional Commission report, and how it says that the disabled or people based on their sexuality does not need protection. And you'd sort of say, okay, Mandela Day, freedom, access, opportunity, equality, but no protection for the disabled, no protection for those of alternate lifestyles. And it's like, man, someday we will get there. At some point, we will move in that direction to be able to say, if Madiba were to look at our Constitution, he would find that it deals with the least of these. Because Mandela said that you never know your country until you've lived in its prisons. Because a country ought not be judged by the treatment of the higher-ups, but by the treatment of the least. And that in the Bahamas, the least of these, as the Bible points out, is certainly ignored. And these are things that we need to deal with. We have cases that are very much so like Trayvon Martin right here in the Bahamas, without the issue of race, without the issue of discrimination. But it's all us. Everybody looked the same, but Brenton Smith is no longer here. But the young man who passed away in the prison cell because of bad treatment, he is no longer with us. And these are people who either were killed by police officers or died in the presence of the police or in the station. So, you know, the case of Trayvon Martin is only a reminder to us to pay attention and be vigilant as people of a community that cannot seek to demonize and cannot seek to simply criminalize people for nothing, man. Our policies that have to do with drugs and small quantities of marijuana criminalize young men and young women without reason. We have police officers that, and mind you, I'm the biggest proponent of the police because I believe the police in the Bahamas do a good job, but there are challenges. And in a small country like this, we look at the backdrop of Mandela Day and we say we got to do better. We have to press to achieve the kind of peace and prosperity and progress that Mandela was talking about. And such is the responsibility of every country and every citizen in every country. So I want to show you this video of Martin Bashir from MSNBC. And I never saw such a comprehensive wrap-up of what nonsense happened during the Trayvon Martin case, as I've seen with Martin Bashir. Also, I appreciate and am awestruck by his ability to simply be honest, to simply present the facts as it were. And that's what we try to do here on Citizens Review. We get much ridicule for it from all of those in the higher up rungs of society who want absolutely nothing to be said about injustices and dishonesty and corruption and ridiculousness that goes on in this country. And it was refreshing to see that an American journalist, Martin Bashir, who is actually, I think, of Middle Eastern background, but is from London, but is now a journalist in the United States, had the audacity to say something about the Trayvon Martin case. Please have a look.
It's time now to clear the air and to compound the tragedy of Trayvon Martin. It feels as though some people are now trying to do to him in death what George Zimmerman apparently did to him in life, attributing to this young man a character and a personality that they could not possibly know. And yet they persist in imposing upon his slight young frame an identity that implies criminality, juvenile delinquency, and the all-round characteristics of a troublemaker. This is not only deeply offensive to his family, but also a gross form of character assassination upon a child, a dead child. Stories are now being carefully fed to certain sections of the media that Trayvon was suspended from school after his bag was found to contain marijuana residue, that he once wrote graffiti on school grounds. Wow! That he was part of a stolen jewellery investigation on school grounds that resulted in no charges. And, to top it all, the greatest act of social criminality for a kid of colour, that he may have worn gold teeth. Wow, call the police. Even if these petty incidents were true, what on earth do they have to do with the fact that George Zimmerman shot and killed him? But let's compare Trayvon Martin with the history of another man. Only this one committed some real offences, and all of them after his 17th birthday. When this individual was 20, he was arrested for disorderly conduct after he got drunk and stole a Christmas wreath from a hotel. So that's drunk, disorderly and theft. Charges were later dropped. When he was 26, he took out his 16-year-old brother on an underage drinking spree. He lost control of his car, hitting a garbage can, but continued driving. When he was 30, he was arrested and found guilty of driving under the influence of alcohol. His driving licence was suspended for 2 years, even though his friends tried to say that it was for just 30 days. Now, does this brief history make him a social wretch? A criminal with no regard for other road users, a drunk, a disgraceful influence upon young people, including his own 16-year-old brother? What do you call him? Scum of the earth? Hoodlum? Criminal? In fact, America ended up calling him the 43rd President of the United States, George W. Bush. But that's not what they're calling Trayvon Martin. Instead, the brief lifestyle of this young man is now on trial. There's now a full-scale character assassination, suggesting that Trayvon Martin deserved his fate, that he even provoked his own death. But while you may be tempted to divert your attention away from what really happened, here are the only 3 facts that really matter. First, a man with a gun chose to pursue an unarmed teenager who'd done nothing wrong. Second, the man with the gun chose to initiate a confrontation with the teenager after he was advised not to. Third, as a result of the confrontation, the man with the gun shot the teenager to death. And when you focus on the facts, it's not the colour of his teeth that keep coming back to haunt you. It's the colour of his skin.
And that is the kind of commentary that made for me the Trayvon Martin case so very clear and so very obvious. And I wrote on Facebook, I think there's nothing else to be said. Martin Bashir closed the issue for me. And what is left to be done now is to repair and to fix the kind of challenges that allow for the Trayvon Martins and the Brenton Smiths to happen, that allow for every day our drug court to arrest and try and put in jail young Bahamians who have done nothing more than smoke a stick of weed. And if you think a life deserves to be ruined for that, then you need to check your head and enter the 21st century. It makes no sense how we criminalize. It makes no sense how we demonize, because each and every one of these children that are really victims and we consider perpetrators are part of us. And if they do not grow, we will not grow. Our freedom cannot be separated from their freedom. Our liberation cannot be yielded with their imprisonment. It will not happen that way. As did South Africa's freedom was not yielded by Mandela's imprisonment. The imprisonment of a troublemaker did not solve the problems of the country. And it turned out at the end that that troublemaker, that problem person, that terrorist, as they called Mandela back in the 60s, turned out to be the president that brought about peace. Imprisonment is not the problem, not the solution. That's not the way we're going to get it done. Before I go on to the last video, there's an event in Freeport that I'll be speaking to. I'm going to put up the flyer so that you can see it. Navarre Smith invited me to speak in Freeport at an event where it's basically an empowerment rally in Freeport for young people. It's tomorrow night, Friday night this week. I don't know if we have the flyer or not, but it's Friday night this week, and it's going to be at the Nesbitt's Car Rental. It's going to be a full rally. There are many speakers. I will be one of the speakers that will be featured. And so I invite everyone to come out in Freeport. I'll be in Freeport. If you want to meet me, talk to me, give me some information, send me something, anything. I'll be in Freeport tomorrow night, and the event is at 6 to 9. There'll be food, there'll be prizes. I've heard that they have a lot of prizes that they're going to give out on some sort of raffle or tickets or something like that. So if you're in Freeport tomorrow, Friday night, please come out. Please come and join. Let's have a good time. Let's talk progress. Let's talk next steps. Let's commemorate Mandela's memory and his living memory, and also be prepared to walk in that kind of light. It's a very difficult track, and as Mandela said, you have to be prepared to die. That is the standard by which change is yielded. It's unfortunate, but it's the standard. The other thing I want to point out is there's a guy in Freeport. His name is Papa Smurf. And he's a Christian. He raps, and he does Bahamian music. And when I was last in Freeport interviewing with Pakeisha Parker, Papa Smurf drove to the radio station to give me a copy of his CD so that I could hear it. And the first thing he said, which is the right thing to say, was that he's from 8 Mile Rock. Well, you know, that's the start, because I spent a lot of my childhood time in 8 Mile Rock, in Seagrape at Mount Calvary Baptist Church with Reverend Mullins. And between Reverend Mullins, you know, I was between being a Baptist and an Anglican, because in Freeport, I was Ascension, Church of the Ascension in Lucaya, with now Bishop Cornell Moss. And in 8 Mile Rock, Seagrape, I was at Reverend Mullins Church, Mount Calvary Baptist Church, with Miss Natalie Harvey. Those of you who in 8 Mile Rock know Miss Harvey know who I'm talking about. Good Turks Island people. So please know that I'm about to play the video for Papa Smurf. Before I go to that video, a lot of people have called me for Miss Cambridge information. Let me put Miss Cambridge information here, Miss Cambridge, number 324-3504. Yes, that is the stuff that I took to lose weight and also to get energy, to become healthy. No, it is not a slim, fast kind of thing. It's actually vitamins that get your body moving, get your energy up, and get you going. I always tell men, if you want to live a better life, get some cardio 5,000 and male balance in your life. And for women, they have female balance to sort of regulate you and get your hormones in order. Symmetry just works. I don't care what nobody say. I am one of the most critical and skeptical persons that I know, and most people know. I don't trust much, and I don't bother with much, but symmetry works. So call Miss Cambridge, check out, sign up, get the products, try it. Try it for 30 days. You ain't got to kill yourself. Try it for 30 days. If you don't like it, don't try it. But trust me, after 30 days, you ain't going to be able to stop because it works. It works. Simply put, it works. Papa Smurf, he has this video. The video is Papa Smurf, The Element, and Miss Ramming. I can't remember Miss Ramming's first name, Sherry Ramming, I think. And they sang this song. It's a beautiful song. I love the song. I am a Bahamian, especially when she belts out the first, I am a Bahamian. You know, I can't sing like how she sings. But enjoy this video, ladies and gentlemen. This is Citizens Review. This was Mandela Day. Let's put Mandela back up, put Madiba back up, so people could see Madiba before this video. Ah! Oh, Lord. Doesn't this picture just make you feel, it makes you feel free, although you may not be. Hallelujah. We are but dust, and to dust we shall return, so you might as well say what you got to say before you're dead. This show was a peaceful show. Martin Bashir, good job. One of the best journalists in the United States of America. Definitely cutting edge. Definitely willing to say what needs to be said. This man, y'all think I bad and I call the Prime Minister stupid. This man calls George W. Bush scum of the earth. So I ain't so bad after all. And that's an American journalist. And you know, anything from America, y'all think is legitimate. So Papa Smurf, The Element, and I'd never heard The Element before, and The Element is off the chain. This video is nice. It's HD quality. Miss Ramming is in it. She's singing. Y'all enjoy the video. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your Mandela Day. Please give back to someone in your community. If you can't do it today, do it sometime this week. And just enjoy peace and tranquility and prosperity, at least for 67 minutes. Have a nice week.
Hey yo, we come a long way and we just begun. Come on, lift up the heads to the rising sun and just sing it out loud. I am a Bahamian. Come on, sing it out loud. I am a Bahamian. From Bahama to an Grand Island in between. If you know you in love with the silent cheer, come on, sing it out loud. I am a Bahamian. Come on, sing it out loud. I am a Bahamian. I am a Bahamian citizen, 242 resident, native son of the 8 Mile Rock settlement, highly intelligent, ladies and gentlemen. Let me introduce Papa Smurf in the element. Bahamian accent, smooth and so elegant. Using it in a rap song to make it sound eloquent. Any place other than this is irrelevant. Tropical paradise, beauty is evident. This goes out to the Bahamian government, leaders of the country, members of parliament. Each and every settlement needs some development. If you ain't encouraged, then this is encouragement. We are in a country that's healthy and prominent. Visitors visit and they leave with astonishment, only to return again. I am very confident. I am sure as I is a Bahamian. Hey, yo, we come a long way and we just begun. Come on, lift up the heads to the rising sun and just sing it out loud. I am a Bahamian. Come on, sing it out loud. I am a Bahamian. From Bahama to an Grand Island in between. If you know you in love with the silent chick, come on, sing it out loud. I am a Bahamian. Come on, sing it out loud.
Yeah,
I am a Bahamian.
welcome to Freeport, home of the element, where everybody's one, but we live in different settlements. Within these different settlements, we have different residents. If you just tune in, then go ahead and get settled in. People get homesick, Freeport is their medicine. Even Keisha Cole said this place gotta be heaven sent. Rest in peace to Wallace Grove, you gotta remember him. He's the one that found us, so in memory of him, I talk about my city like I'm on David Letterman. Ghana will be built off, that ain't no skeleton. July 10th, we celebrate our independence. That's when my city lights up, Texas on Miss Edison. I ain't talking politics, homie, that's irrelevant. I've been here for 21 years, I'm a veteran, so even if I leave to go overseas and get some degrees, I gotta come back here eventually.
We come a long way and we just begun. Come on, lift up the heads to the rising sun and just sing it out loud. I am a Bahamian. Come on, sing it out loud. I am a Bahamian. From Bahama to an Grand Island in between. If you know you in love with the silent chick, come on, sing it out loud. I am a Bahamian. Come on, sing it out loud. I am a
See, I was
Bahamian.
born in Freeport City. Tell you what that means to me. It means I'm proud of my ancestors. Yes, I'm proud of my country. Proud of where we are at present. Proud to where we could have been. We rose above emancipation. It was when we were set free. We all are one in this Bahamas. F&M and PLP. You are the opposing opposition. On behalf of us you speak. We are an independent nation. We pledge allegiance to our flag and to the Commonwealth Bahamas, and for all of which it stands.
We come a long way and we just begun. Come on, lift up the heads to the rising sun and just sing it out loud. I am a Bahamian. Come on, sing it out loud. I am a Bahamian. From Bahama to an Grand Island in between. If you know you in love with the silent chick, come on, sing it out